we are in a reality where there are so many signatures around us every day. We are in touch with so many different influences that impact our mind, our emotions, our psyche. These influences can trigger things within. I think some of the most important things to remember about where we are here are, the notion of the spiritless, that not everybody is real. And the more you denumb your abilities, the more you are able to identify, when you encounter them, that some people are not spirited. So it's going to have an influence on how you are spending your time and how you relate to them, on how you engage and interface with them as well. Another important point is the reality that carriers of a source to eternal connection and the spark are going to be surrounded by handlers. And you find a lot of different handlers on many different scenes. And, sometimes handlers are even romantically paired with each other. It depends. It's really a degree about, how far someone is on the path. And so someone who is less awakened and who has more subconscious, or who's just not working through a part of their shadow, may be recruited and used. And it's very rare when people have awareness of that, but you will feel the effect they have on your psyche, on your life. Maybe the engineering they bring, the control energy you will find in your field. And you will have to recalibrate accordingly to what you are finding. So we find often the cover story of this surface level, and then we find underneath what's really being lived as an experience, and how the entrapment is perpetuated by making us feel a certain way, by making a lot of MK Ultra suggestions that are meant to keep us small, much smaller than we are, that are meant to discourage us to shine our brilliance and our light. So this is also key, because when you know about handlers, when you have realized the roles they play in your past and the role they are playing in your present, you get better and better at spotting them all around in the lives of other people, your friends who are real, celebrities who are real. It's a funny game, spot the real, find the reals, and look at the engineering. With celebrities, it gets to another level of public humiliation and shame is a big way through which they are managed and kept handled as well. So it's very, many names of some celebrities who have been publicly humiliated, or different things have been said about them, or, just the unflattering, distorted matrix image that the media is gonna create about them is very, very traumatizing for their mental health. And you have very luminous sparks out there that really are really locked into trauma, schizophrenia, very difficult aspects of mental health. So it's undeniable that we have a lot of mind influences here. Every person, every one of us have to deal with a lot. You have subtle, covert aspects always at game, and this might motivate you sometimes to reduce your circle. And I think on my journey, it's been important for me to trust in my experience and not the the cover stories that were presented to me, that, you know, everything was fine and that, you know, the abuse wasn't going on, but I could feel and trust that it was otherwise. So I wanted to share about something that fascinates me and interests me greatly. It's about different kind of signatures that we find all over social media, all over the internet life, all over visual art, different kind of, you know, a lot of what's going on, different companies, logos, all of that. You will find that people generally reveal who and what they are and who they're working for. And by that, I mean that they are often working for some groups and they have usually no awareness of that. But if you read this reality, you are aware that, you know, you can recognize these signatures that are at game, and you can intuit into invisible presence as well, that are part of our experience here and playing a role in it and adjusting parameters, changing things, collapsing timelines, playing a big role here on how it's mapped and, you know, designed. So we find these occult signatures. Generally, people cannot help at some point on the journey but to share these subliminal, subconscious aspects. These signatures have helped me greatly to keep on identifying and recognizing MK Ultra handlers and MK Ultra reprogrammers on my path to be where I am today, which, you know, it's never going to be perfect, but I did a big work at handling influences at bay. And that's only how I can start some creative process to have this space, to not be caught in these hive minds, in these narratives, in these false narratives, you know, in this false engineering, and kept connecting to what is true, and beings who are also there to grow with me and curious to explore, you know, the path of healing and building these new things together. So the first symbol is the butterfly. So it can be a simple butterfly, but it's also often going to be the monarch butterfly. And you find it everywhere, of course, in the entertainment industry. But not only, you find it online. Different people are using this emoticon. Sometimes they are using it, most of the time they are using it for subconscious reasons. They're not really fully aware. I myself remember, I've not been using it much on my path, but I remember very clearly using it on one of my posts when I came back in beginning of 2020 from a very reprogramming journey travel that lasted 3 months, and that took me through different reprogramming, embedded, entangled operation. One of them was supposed to be you know, a retreat where I was would have been learning about plants. Another one was with a false healing center held by ET dark factions. Through all that episode online, I was connected to different dark reals who were handlers, though some of them have real gifts and are really gifted, and also can bring some healing through their intuition. They were high caliber MK Ultra handlers on my path, and I grew with them until I noticed that the control energy was not playing in my favor, and that I needed to break free from that, because the need to protect my spirit energy and anchor more of that here, therefore unfold my work, which is my main reason to be here. And definitely the thing that motivates me the most, that is the most important. I think this is the legacy of the signature we live here while we're here, and it evolves with us every minute, every hour, every day, every month. It keeps on changing. And it's not say that it's always going towards the rise, because the reprogramming episodes in our lives can be pretty intense. Big operations are launched at certain times, certain ages. It's not always going to be everything at once, but the more you start to pick up that the cover life is not all there is, that the surface life, you're going to be sent operation to trigger dormant things within you and to get you sidetracked anyway, any way they can, right? So we see also that a lot of celebrities, when they are aging, have been finding it hard not to fall for the extreme engineering in their lives, and some of them have become only, sadly, a caricature of what they were when they were younger. So the butterfly symbol, I find myself using it when I was coming back from this extremely reprogramming operation that took me from handler to handler, etc. So I wrote a post. It was about mind control already, but I couldn't help but place this emoticon there, which was a big sign of reprogramming. And it took me a few weeks and months to deprogram, integrate, and collapse the timelines that were designed for me to follow. So this is one personal example, and I've been in interaction with many people using the butterfly emoticon for different reasons. These beings are not always malicious, but it's a sign of being deeply entangled with mind control or the new age. The new age is very voracious of this butterfly emoticon, but also the fringe field, the alien. You can find a lot of this symbolism there, and it's a warning if anything pretending to be healing present this butterfly there, because it's also going to be about reprogramming you and keeping you locked into your programming. It's a sign of deep entanglement of the mind, and it's a sign that influences needs to be pushed away to reconnect with spirit energy. There was a practitioner I used to see, and she was using it, and I was noticing that she was using it, but as I'm sharing, I'm aware of other people who are using it, and they're not always going to be malicious. Some of them are really trapped into new age layers due to their self-esteem being so targeted, and some are beautiful souls as well who are very empathic and reals hold a percentage of light. It's none of the reals here embody 100% of light. It's about how much light and how much darkness you hold at a certain time in your signature. And even some beings who carry some light can be used for control, can be recruited as handler according to their darkness, can be used to hurt your self-esteem by not being able to recognize you, for example, because their mind is really, really trapped. So that happened a lot with the the reals who struggle with certain degree of awakening, they, you know, they can be used to trigger the wound of non-recognition as well. So this person that I mentioned in the past, that practitioner, turns out to be a little bit of a MK Ultra distraction on my path. And something really important is that she was also using the infinity loop as a sign for a practice, which she was leading with her handler partner, who is not a real person. He's a spiritless handler with beta sex kitten and different control energy. And this practitioner doesn't have the discernment to recognize this handling energy in her life. She lives in a lot of false realities. And we see a lot of people who promote a lot of false realities, who don't tackle, what needs to be tackled here, because they're not going deep enough. They're buying into the stories that the Matrix is proposing to them. So this infinity symbol is a big red flag if you find it anywhere on the scene of healing, quantum machine or things like that. It means, infinity looping within the matrix system. That's what it means. And these beings are consciously or not so consciously, but this is a choice of spirit to be stuck there, choosing that entrapment, right? By lack of work on progress, by ego seduction, which is very widespread here for the reals. So another very important thing that I see every day on my social media are signs of dissociations. So you're gonna see double heads, triple heads, things missing in the head, parts of the face, dislocation of the face, mirror image, doubles. And you even find options on phones where you can create a double of yourself, right? And use this on your social media. It's just meant to perpetuate the MK Ultra culture. And even if we are aware of this, if we keep on exposing ourselves to them, these have an effect on encouraging, reprogramming and dissociation and different things. So it's not only the triggers that we feel that have an influence. There are many things that have an influence here, as you know. And that is why also it's so difficult to fully explain our experience here, because it's so complex and depending on so many parameters, some that we don't even remember consciously because we are wiped from many different experiences that we have. And so we live a long life, especially when you take in consideration the 20 and back programs, and we're traveling like that here and back. And so it's a long life and it feels very long. I think about beginning of 2020 when I came back from this journey. It's only 3 years ago, a little bit over, but it feels much longer. And a lot has been going on since then. And a lot of work also has been put. So these signs of dissociation are very important. Who is spreading this culture of double, keeping you in your programming. It's also about alters, just there is also the mirror image, the, reflection over the water, the things like that. Another symbolism that we find pretty widespread will be about the black and the white use. So this generally refers to the checkerboard, Masonic, culture, color white and black. And you can find sometimes that people will wear black and white. And it's always important to notice how people, what they are wearing whether it's this black and white culture that can refer to the Masonic. You have different dark, recruited, fragmented women sometimes here with what I'm thinking about, that are spreading stories about, ritual abuse and escaping Illuminati persecution, but they're still very held by definitely dark ET groups. And this can show by what they are wearing as well. Another big warning is the skull. So I realized a few things thanks to the skull symbol that I seen on my social media. And this is a little scary in the signature that it holds. Also the horns, the animal horns or these kind of things. We also find very widespread the one-eye symbol, the eye missing, the all-seeing eye, the sign of the hand with the six, creating a six and, putting it over your eyes. So that's also a tell. You will also find the devil horn that a lot of people have been told it's something different than what it is. And all of these are also creating contracts and aligning with different low frequency energies. You will also sometimes find in operations such as the one that's been unfolding in 2020, the Masonic compass. So from the Masons, and we find it in different operation, different logos about health or stay at home kind of, little operation that was going on. So that's another sign, another tell. Also in Star Trek, they used the one of the Masonic end. I think it's what's his name? This Spock. I think so. But he's using. So it's like you just divide your forefinger in two, and you can find people in your own life who had. I did find someone who was sent to me when I was working to become a friend of mine and just network me to his dark thing. Networking, it's also had a very dissociated gaze. So he was very fragmented. But I found this on his page later when, I kept on reviewing who is who in my life, as we all are doing. Another important sign to deprogram for is the V sign. It's not victory. And I stopped doing that. It's in the culture due to the celebrity impact and influences on the mind. A lot of people are just, it's an automatic reaction, unreal, subconscious type of programming, but it's tied, it shows that programming is still very active. And, I consciously stopped using and just deprogram my body from the use of that, hand sign. And I think it's important to teach the children not to do that, just to deprogram from that, just to make them aware that they don't have to do that. And, that, it's not because celebrities are doing that, they have to mirror. It's a automatic mirror influence. So it's important to, to bring awareness towards that, to just bring more consciousness about all the little things we do in our lives. The shush sign as well is very important. I found the shush sign in some museum that I was visiting maybe, more than 10 years ago. I don't go in museum anymore. for quite a few years already, but I found on some pictures there was the shush sign. Of course, at the time I didn't realize it, that it was there, but you will find it. It's a vow of secrecy as well. It encourage and ask secrecy, as secrecy is also very much encouraged within cult environment and hive mind spaces. You are meant to feel like you cannot speak about the abuse you've been going through. And sometimes talking about the abuse you've been going through is necessary for your healing journey. Another important symbol is the snakes. You know, we find the two snakes with the wings in different things like medicine or ambulances or the veterinary world. It also shows it's held, you know, it's dark territory. And, you know, any kind of deities that you're gonna find, the ascended false master and false angels. And I have an article about, you know, that on my website. Other signs would be the leopard clothing from the beta sex kitten programming, which also can be found in a lot of different places on social media. I had different handlers using, in my personal life, using the leopard print, though it was not like every day, but it was here and there. And anyway, even if they were not using the print, they were carrying this programming within themselves and mainly functioning from that programming. So they had a huge influence on triggering my programming, derailing me. Also, the sex kitten, different kind of signatures is going to be a sexual signature that somehow triggers you. We find that a lot in movies as well, but also online, on social media. It can have an influence on us, for sure. So these were some of the signatures that I wanted to share more about today, because I think they're important. Sometimes we are not processing everything that we are exposed to, and we can spot a lot of matrix trap, imposters, and again, you know, conscious deceivers as well on the scenes, thanks to spotting all of these. Now I go over many different examples of these signs, mainly in my course Back to Basics. I have folders of different images in many different fields. I also have a module on beta sex kitten signature, and in the future I will have more about beta sex kitten, because it's an important programming used for huge derailment in our lives and also in the lives of real celebrities, as we can see. Can derail us for years, it can be used as a programming to start relationships that are based on these signatures, and therefore, of course, not based on, you know, spirit energy. So it has a huge impact. And I also have different courses and modules on, you know, spotting AI energy, the spiritless, and each time I go over many different templates. So it's a training in frequency signatures reading. I also have a module on walk out energies, because these ones are tricky, because they have a sort of empty signature of spirit, because the spirit has left. So they are tricky because there was something, and you can feel that there is the memory of a spirit signature, but the spirit isn't really there anymore shining. So these beings are usually recruited as handlers if they weren't already, but it goes, you don't have a spirit fighting or deciding anymore. So it gets, they can be also run by AI It can be just AI running them now that they are empty, or different dark forces and dark factions as well. And I also am finishing to record a course on animal signatures. There might be other modules added as it goes, because there is a lot to the animal life, and again, spotting the real there and the different templates active. And I share there in depth my journey with my different animals especially over the last 5 years. The adoption process of spirited dogs, ally or more matrix traps, and how to recognize red flags, and how to choose a real match, and animals that are supportive and also assisting our animals in their healing. Food for animal as well, to transition them to a species appropriated diet, going back to the roots. So all these courses are on my website, ariapercy.com, in the course section. I don't always announce things that I create here on YouTube. You will find that on my website. It keeps on growing. I hope you're well motivated to keep an eye on all these signatures that surround us, and to keep on uncovering them as fast as we can.